Right now, at this very moment, you're carrying the most powerful weapon ever created. It's not made of steel or gunpowder. It doesn't need ammunition or maintenance. This weapon has toppled empires, built civilizations, and changed the course of human history more times than we can count. Yet most people walk through life completely unaware they possess it, let alone how to use it. This weapon is your mind. But here's what's truly remarkable about this weapon you carry: it's the only one that becomes more powerful the more you use it. Every other tool in human history wears down with use. A sword becomes dull, a gun barrel wears smooth. But your mind? Your mind grows sharper with every challenge you face, every problem you solve, every moment you choose to think, rather than simply react. Think about the carpenter who swings his hammer all day long. His arm grows stronger, his aim becomes truer, his efficiency increases. When was the last time you deliberately exercised it? When was the last time you challenged it with something difficult, something that made you stretch beyond your comfort zone? Most people treat their minds like an old tool shed. They throw things in randomly, never organize, never clean out the clutter, and then wonder why they can't find what they need when they need it. They let their minds become repositories for other people's opinions, society's limitations, and yesterday's failures. They fill their mental space with worry about things they cannot control and regret about things they cannot change. But what if you treated your mind like the precision instrument it actually is? What if you maintained it with the same care a master craftsman maintains his finest tools? What if you fed it with the same attention a gardener gives to his prize-winning roses? The difference between those who succeed in life and those who merely survive isn't talent, isn't luck, isn't even opportunity. The difference is how they use this weapon between their ears. The successful have learned something the merely surviving haven't. They've learned that the quality of their thoughts determines the quality of their lives. Look around you right now. Everything you see began as a thought in someone's mind. The chair you're sitting on, the building that houses you, the clothes on your back, all of it started as an idea. Someone thought it, then brought it into reality. That's the power of a sharpened mind. It doesn't just observe the world, it shapes it. Yet here's what's tragic about the human condition. Most people spend more time maintaining their automobiles than they do maintaining their minds. They'll change the oil regularly, keep the tires properly inflated, and make sure the engine runs smoothly. But when it comes to their mental engine, they let it run on empty, fill it with low-grade fuel, and wonder why their lives sputter and stall. Your mind is not neutral territory. It's either working for you or against you. There's no middle ground. Every moment of every day, it's either building you up or tearing you down, either moving you toward your goals or away from them, either making you stronger or weaker. The choice is always yours. But here's the catch: if you don't make the choice consciously, your mind will make it for you, and it rarely chooses the path that serves your best interests. Think about water for a moment. Left to its own devices, water always finds the easiest path downhill. It follows the path of least resistance, carving deeper and deeper grooves until it's trapped in a canyon of its own making. Your mind, without conscious direction, behaves exactly the same way. It follows the same thought patterns, day after day, year after year, until those patterns become so deep you can't see over the walls you've built around yourself. But unlike water, you have the power to redirect your mental flow. You can choose to think uphill. You can choose to challenge your assumptions, question your limitations, and refuse to accept that things must always be as they've always been. The moment you truly understand this, the moment you realize that your thoughts are not something that happens to you, but something you actively control, that's the moment your life changes forever. That's the moment you stop being a victim of circumstances and start being the architect of your destiny. Now, let me tell you about the most dangerous enemy your mind will ever face. It's not poverty, it's not lack of education, it's not even failure. The most dangerous enemy your mind faces is comfort. Comfort is the silent killer of potential, the gentle assassin of dreams, the velvet rope that keeps you from exploring the vastness of what you could become. When your mind gets comfortable, it stops growing. When it stops growing, it starts dying. Not the dramatic death of a heart attack or an accident, but the slow, insidious death of settling for less than you're capable of. It's the death of 1,000 small compromises, each one seeming insignificant, until you wake up one day and realize you're living someone else's life. Here's a truth that might sting a little. Most people are sleepwalking through their lives. They go through the motions, follow the routines, and convince themselves they're living when they're really just existing. They've allowed their minds to become dull through disuse, like a knife left in a drawer, slowly losing its edge until it can barely cut through butter. But you know what the most beautiful thing about a dull knife is? It can always be sharpened again. It doesn't matter how long it's been neglected, how rusty it's become, or how hopeless it might seem. With the right technique and persistence, that blade can be restored to razor sharpness. Your mind is the same way. Let me ask you something, and I want you to be brutally honest with yourself. When was the last time you did something that genuinely challenged your thinking? When was the last time you picked up a book that made you uncomfortable, had a conversation that forced you to defend your beliefs, or attempted something you weren't certain you could accomplish? If you're struggling to answer that question, you're not alone. Most people haven't challenged their minds in years. They've fallen into the trap of intellectual comfort food, consuming only information that confirms what they already believe, surrounding themselves only with people who think like they think, and avoiding any situation that might force them to grow. This is mental stagnation, and it's epidemic in our society. People wonder why they feel stuck, why life seems to be passing them by, why success remains elusive. The answer is simple. They've stopped sharpening their most important tool. Think about the farmer who tends his land. Every season, he must till the soil, breaking up the hard-packed earth, making it ready for new seeds. If he doesn't do this work, the soil becomes so compacted that nothing can grow. The same is true of your mind. Without regular cultivation, it becomes hard-packed with old ideas, limiting beliefs, and mental habits that serve no purpose except to keep you exactly where you are. But here's where it gets interesting. The moment you begin to challenge your mind, something remarkable happens. Neural pathways that have been dormant for years suddenly spring to life. Connections form between ideas that seemed unrelated. Solutions appear for problems you thought were unsolvable. It's like turning on lights in a house you thought was empty, only to discover it's been fully furnished all along. The tragedy is that most people never discover what their minds are truly capable of because they never push them beyond their comfort zones. They live their entire lives using perhaps 10% of their mental capacity, like owning a Ferrari, but never taking it out of first gear. You see, your mind is not a container with fixed walls. It's not like a bucket that can only hold so much before it overflows. Your mind is more like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it becomes. The more you challenge it, the more capable it becomes. The more you stretch it, the more flexible it becomes. But just like physical exercise, mental exercise can be uncomfortable at first. Your brain might resist. It might tell you it's too hard, too confusing, too much work. It might whisper that you're not smart enough, not capable enough, not worthy enough. These are lies your comfortable mind tells you to keep you from growing beyond its current limitations. The secret to sharpening your mind isn't found in some complex system or expensive program. It's found in one simple practice: deliberately choosing difficult over easy, challenging over comfortable, growth over stagnation. Every single day, you have countless opportunities to either sharpen your mental blade or let it grow duller. When you encounter a problem, do you immediately look for the easiest solution, or do you challenge yourself to find a creative approach? When someone presents an idea you disagree with, do you dismiss it outright, or do you explore why they might think that way? When you face a task that seems beyond your current abilities, do you avoid it, or do you see it as an opportunity to expand those abilities? These moments of choice are the whetstones on which your mind's sharpness depends. Each time you choose the harder path, you add another stroke to the blade. Each time you choose comfort, you let it dull just a little more. There's a story about two lumberjacks who were competing to see who could cut down more trees in a single day. The first lumberjack started swinging his axe at sunrise and didn't stop until sunset, working with fierce determination and relentless energy. The second lumberjack worked just as hard, but every hour he would stop for 15 minutes and disappear into the woods. The first lumberjack was confident he would win. After all, he had worked without rest while his competitor had taken breaks every hour. But when they counted the trees at the end of the day, the second lumberjack had cut down significantly more. Confused and frustrated, the first lumberjack demanded to know what the second had been doing during those 15-minute breaks. The second lumberjack smiled and said, "I was sharpening my axe." This is the difference between those who achieve extraordinary results and those who simply work hard. The achievers understand that effectiveness is not about the amount of effort you put in. It's about the sharpness of the tool you're using. Your mind is your axe, and like any tool, it requires regular sharpening to maintain its effectiveness. But here's what most people don't understand. Sharpening your mind isn't just about acquiring more information. In fact, more information can sometimes make your mental axe duller, not sharper. Think about it. We live in an age where information is everywhere. Yet are people thinking more clearly than they did generations ago? Are they making better decisions? Are they happier, more fulfilled, more successful? The evidence suggests otherwise. More information has not led to better thinking. In many cases, it has led to more confusion, more overwhelm, and more paralysis. The problem is that most people confuse information with understanding, data with wisdom, facts with insight. They stuff their minds with endless streams of information, but never take the time to process it, to understand it, to transform it into something useful. It's like a carpenter collecting thousands of pieces of wood, but never learning how to build anything with them. True mental sharpening isn't about consuming more, it's about processing better. It's about taking the raw material of information and forging it into the refined steel of understanding. It's about developing the ability to cut through confusion and complexity to reach the core truth that matters. So how do you sharpen this mental blade? The same way you would sharpen any blade, through friction, pressure, and patience. The friction comes from challenging your existing beliefs and assumptions. Most people live their entire lives without ever seriously questioning the fundamental beliefs that shape their reality. They inherit their parents' beliefs, absorb their culture's assumptions, and adopt their peer group's limitations, all without ever asking whether these beliefs actually serve them. But a sharp mind questions everything, especially its own conclusions. It asks not just, "Is this true?" but "How do I know this is true? And what would I believe if I approached this question with fresh eyes?" This kind of intellectual friction creates sparks, and sparks ignite new thinking. The pressure comes from deliberately placing yourself in situations that demand more of your mental capacity than you're currently using. Just as a weightlifter must continually add more weight to the bar to build strength, you must continually add more complexity to your mental challenges to build intellectual power. This means reading books that are slightly above your current level of understanding. It means engaging in conversations with people who are smarter than you. It means attempting projects that stretch your current abilities. It means embracing the discomfort that comes with operating at the edge of your competence. The patience comes from understanding that mental sharpening is not a destination but a process. There is no point at which you can declare your mind fully sharpened and stop the work. Like physical fitness, mental sharpness must be maintained through consistent, deliberate practice. But here's the beautiful thing about sharpening your mind: the benefits compound exponentially. A sharp mind doesn't just solve problems faster. It sees problems that others miss entirely. It doesn't just process information more efficiently. It recognizes patterns and connections that escape duller minds. It doesn't just make better decisions. It sees opportunities where others see only obstacles. Consider the difference between a dull saw and a sharp one. A dull saw requires enormous effort to cut through even soft wood, and the cut is rough, imprecise, wasteful. A sharp saw glides through the hardest timber with minimal effort, creating clean, precise cuts with no wasted material. This is the difference between a sharp mind and a dull one when confronted with life's challenges. The dull mind struggles with simple problems, creates more confusion than clarity, and wastes enormous amounts of energy on ineffective approaches. The sharp mind cuts through complexity with ease, finds elegant solutions to difficult problems, and accomplishes more with less effort. But perhaps most importantly, a sharp mind creates its own opportunities. It doesn't wait for circumstances to improve or for someone else to provide solutions. It sees possibilities where others see impossibilities. It finds ways where others find only walls. It creates value where others see only problems. The question you must ask yourself is this: in this moment, right now, is your mind getting sharper or duller? With every choice you make, every book you read or don't read, every challenge you embrace or avoid, every comfort you choose over growth, you're either honing your mental edge or letting it deteriorate. Now let me tell you about the greatest prison ever constructed. It has no bars, no walls, no guards. Yet it holds more people captive than all the jails in history combined. This prison is built entirely of thoughts, your own thoughts. And here's the most tragic part. You hold the only key, yet most people never use it because they don't even realize they're imprisoned. This mental prison is constructed from three materials: fear, doubt, and the deadly phrase, "I can't." Every time you say, "I can't learn that," another bar appears. Every time you think, "I'm not smart enough," another wall rises. Every time you believe, "That's just not possible for someone like me," the ceiling gets a little lower. The cruelest irony is that this prison grows stronger, not through external force, but through repetition. Each time you repeat a limiting belief, you reinforce the walls. Each time you accept a boundary that someone else placed on your thinking, you add another lock to your cell. But here's what the prison guards your fears and doubts don't want you to know. The walls are made of paper. The bars are made of smoke. The locks are made of the same stuff as dreams. They exist only as long as you believe in them. Think about a circus elephant, trained from birth with a chain around its leg attached to a small stake. When the elephant is young and weak, the chain holds it. But as it grows larger and stronger, it could easily break free. Yet it doesn't, because it has been conditioned to believe the chain is stronger than its island. The chain that once was real has become a chain of the mind. You carry chains just like that elephant. Chains forged in childhood classrooms where you were told you weren't good at math. Chains hammered in teenage years when you were told to be realistic about your dreams. Chains polished in adult years by well-meaning friends who told you to settle for what you have because asking for more is greedy. These mental chains feel real, but they're illusions. The moment you test them, really test them, you discover they have no power except what you've given them. The moment you stop believing in your limitations, they stop limiting you. Here's a question that will either liberate you or terrify you. What would you attempt if you knew you could not fail? What dreams have you abandoned, not because they were impossible, but because you convinced yourself you weren't capable of achieving them? The difference between extraordinary people and ordinary people isn't that extraordinary people don't have limiting beliefs, it's that they've learned to challenge them. They've learned to question the voice in their head that says, "You can't," and replace it with the more powerful voice that asks, "Why not?" Your mind has been programmed since birth with other people's limitations. Your parents, teachers, friends, society, they all meant well, but they could only give you what they had. If they lived with limited thinking, they passed that limitation to you. If they believed success was for other people, they taught you to believe the same thing. But programming can be changed. Just as a computer can be reprogrammed to perform new functions, your mind can be reprogrammed to believe new things, achieve new levels, and reach new heights. The process starts with one simple recognition. The voice in your head that tells you what you can't do is not your voice. It's an echo of every doubt, every fear, every limitation that was ever placed on you by others. That voice has no more authority over your life than you choose to give it. Right now, in this moment, you have the power to stop listening to that voice. You have the power to question every limitation you've accepted as truth. You have the power to test the strength of every chain that holds you back. So, here's what happens when you finally pick up your weapon and learn to wield it with precision. The world doesn't change, you change. The circumstances don't improve, your ability to handle them improves. The problems don't disappear, your capacity to solve them expands. When you sharpen your mind, you stop being a victim of circumstances and become the architect of your destiny. You stop reacting to life and start creating it. You stop asking, why me? And start asking, what now? You stop seeing obstacles and start seeing opportunities disguised as problems. A sharp mind cuts through confusion like a sword through silk. It sees solutions where others see only problems. It finds ways where others find only walls. It creates possibilities where others accept limitations. But remember this, your mind is not a tool that you sharpen once and forget. It requires daily attention, constant care, deliberate use. Every morning you wake up, you have a choice. Will you pick up this weapon and hone its edge, or will you let it grow dull through neglect? The choice is yours. It always has been. It always will be. Your mind is your greatest weapon. Now go sharpen it